What's up, y'all? Quentin here with Catfish Karma. Today's video is starting off way too early in the morning. I've got about 2 hours of sleep, actually. But you see, I've got a situation. I'm not sure that it's a full-on emergency, but it's definitely somewhat of a predicament. A kerfluffle, perhaps. But you see, this freezer, it's got catfish, redfish, deer meat, there's rabbit, there's some hog in there, there's a bunch of ice, but no skipjack whatsoever, not a single one. This one, much the same. Catfish, I don't think there's any redfish, but there's a bunch more deer meat, there's rabbit and squirrel, a whole bunch of ice, absolutely zero skipjack. What self-respecting catfisherman will be caught with 2 freezers and none of them have skipjack? That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I'm not into stockpiling skipjack like I used to be. I prefer to have fresh all the time. I'll do whatever I can every time I go fishing to get the freshest bait possible. But I need at least some in the freezer for a backup, right? Because you never know. Sometimes it's hard to get. So today's video is about that. We got to fix that problem. We've got to get at least, I don't know, 3 or 4 dozen skipjack to put in that freezer. So let's do this. All right, so as it turns out, it's a good thing I started early this morning. First up, I don't know why I was loading those red coolers. Those are too small to carry a good quantity of ice, and I like to get my skipjack really cold really fast so that it stays the freshest. I want my skipjack to have no odor whatsoever, and as soon as they start to deteriorate, they start to stink. So then I realized I forgot to put gas in the boat, so that cost me a few more minutes. But it's not all bad because it's freaking cold out here. It's like 28 degrees. It's not ideal and way colder than I expected, but that's okay. I'll wait just a little bit of time and let that sun get up and start beaming through the water. The bite usually picks up a lot more then. And in the meantime, I'll show you guys what I'm going to be throwing. So on this one, I've got some Bass Pro Marabou jigs. That color should work pretty good today because the water is going to have a little bit of stain to it because the water's been kind of high. Those jigs don't hold up well. They fall apart really, really fast. But I like that color combo. And on this one, I got some bright orange with some flash. Those are Shamalure jigs. They don't have a name. They're just something bright and flashy that tends to stand out good in slightly stained water. Those are super durable jigs. That's the #1 reason I use Shamalure jigs. And then over here, I've got more Shamalure jigs. Those are Marabou Ninjas with black heads. Again, super, super durable. Those will last all day if I don't snag up on the bottom. And then these are some Shiny Heinies. Shiny Heinies will catch just about any time, anywhere, but they're crap. They fall apart real quick. The hooks snap off. And these are the last Shiny Heinies that I have. I won't buy any more of those because, like I said, they fall apart. But they do get bites good. These actually had yellow heads, and I painted them black to stand out a little bit more in slightly stained water that I'm expecting today. I might find out that I'm wrong when the sun gets up a little bit more. The water might look a little bit better. But that's what I'm throwing to start. Alright, y'all, that was actually, I think that was cast number 10. And I caught the first skipjack on cast number 9 before turning on the camera, so it's starting. It's not bad. 2 small skipjack in 10 casts, and I expect it to get better as the sun rises. That was on the shiny hiney. One or two more casts, and I'm gonna try that ninja with the black head. All right, here we go, y'all. The marabou ninja with the black head. That's the first cast with the Shama Lures Marabou Ninja, and it's a better skipjack than the other two. I'm really wanting the great big old donkeys today, but this one will do.
This production is being brought to you by Battery Outfitters, with locations all over the Mid-South. They are your neighborhood battery store.
That one's definitely smaller than I want. Much better. Another one on the ninja with the black head, and that's a better skipjack. Alright, y'all, so I started off throwing that little like green and red marabou jig from Bass Pro. Nothing. And then I went to the shiny hiney. I think I caught 2 or 3 small ones. And then I was doing really good on the Blackhead Ninja from Shama Lures. And now I'm trying the, what is that? I'm just going to call it the Orange Flash rig here from Shama Lures. Let's see what we get. Right away. It feels like that might be 2 of them. I don't know if it was 2 of them, but it turned into 1 of them. Alright, so far both of the Shama Lure rigs are not only catching the most, but they're catching the largest ones. But it's also getting just a little bit later in the morning, the sun's getting up better, so who knows? It could be just the amount of light in the water. So I'm going to switch back to the one I started with, that Bass Pro Marabou. right, the Bass Pro Marabou is on the board, and it's a decent skipjack. All right, y'all, it's looking like it's gonna be a great day for skipjack fishing, which is just what I needed. I don't like to have zero skipjack in the fridge, well, the freezer rather. So yeah, right now, all 4 of the rigs that I've got tied up have caught skipjack. So it's one of those days where they'll hit a variety of jigs. That's good for me. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to somewhat keep up with how many I've caught on each, not to show which one is better, because I don't think I'll see much of a difference, but I might be able to show the durability difference between the Shama lures and, well, basically everything else. I've had the camera off probably at least 30 minutes or so. I've caught lots of skipjack since then. I've got 1 cooler just about topped off. And so far, the clear leaders, it's kind of a 3-way tie. The Bass Pro Marabou with the white, that greenish yellow and the red head, and the Ninja from Shama Lures. Those are definitely the top 2, but honestly, that orange flash from Shama Lures might be doing just as well. I'm surprised, but the Shiny Hiney is a distant 4th place to any of those others in terms of catch rate, and then it's also clearly catching smaller skipjack. So you never know. Speaking of small ones, this is the smallest of the day right here. That was on the Bass Pro Marabou. And I've always liked these little Bass Pro Marabou jigs as far as catch rate, but as I mentioned earlier, they're not durable. And sure enough, I mean, you know, this one is already starting to come apart. It's looking pretty bad there. I don't know how well that's showing up. When I first started targeting skipjack, the Shiny Hiney was probably my favorite jig. The only real issue I've had out of them is the hook snapping off. It's just a terrible hook on them. It's a really sharp hook, but they snap off like crazy. They do come unraveled some, but I find the hook to be a much bigger problem than the unraveling. And there's another dink on the Shiny Hiney. So I think I might retire the Shiny Hiney for the day, because that's like 15 or 20 small ones and 1 big one. So I think it's done for the day, and I'll go on to something else. I think I'll put this orange flash back out there. The Shama Lure orange flash. I think this is the only rig that I've had a double on today. at least I don't get very many doubles when I'm fishing like this. I mean, it's not like I'm fishing at a dam or a hot water discharge. It's cold today. I mean, the temperature's still in the low 30s right now, 28 when I started, and I'm just fishing along the river. I'm not at a, you know, like a prime spot where you'll catch doubles and triples and quads. But I did have a double on this one earlier.
This production is being brought to you by Battery Outfitters. With locations all over the Mid-South, they are your neighborhood battery store.
Looks like this one just wadded my rig up. Yeah, what a mess. Another one on the Shamalures Marabou Ninja with a black head, and it's another big one. So it's pretty clear. My biggest, and certainly the majority of the big skipjack that I've caught today have definitely been on the Shamalures. This one and that orange flash. Now the orange flash bit the dust. It only because it got tied up. But yeah, it's over here in a pile, and I don't have the patience to be untying that crap. I've got so many rigs tied up, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to spend my time fishing, untying rigs. You know, I should be catching fish, not untying rigs. So anyway, we're down one orange flash rig. The Marabou Ninja is holding up like a new penny, and it's catching the bigger fish. Where's it at? Shiny Hiney over there in the corner, by far catching the smallest fish, and I've snapped one hook off. I think I've only caught two bigger fish on it and already snapped a hook off. The Bass Pro Marabou, one of my favorites. It's doing good. It's catching good fish. It's equally catching fish. It's catching fish equal to the Shamalures Marabou Ninja, but check it out. There's an example. See how that body is coming apart? That's the story on these. They'll catch fish, but they come apart. They cost less than the Shamalures, but these will be trashed at the end of the day. And I've got Shamalures jigs that I've used for several years, trip after trip after trip, and they hold up. So the video's not over yet. I'm gonna start this back up when I get home, and I'm packing these skipjack up, because I got a real quick tip that I'm gonna share with y'all that has helped me to have the best frozen skipjack you could possibly have. I'll share that in just a moment. All right, y'all, I'm gonna end this video with a tip on how to preserve or package skipjack. This is something that took me at least, I don't know, 2, 3, maybe 4 years to really learn the importance of. But this is my oldest vacuum sealer. It's super simple. It's a real cheap one from like Walmart or something. It works great, but there is a trick to it. This is a much nicer vacuum sealer from Meet Your Maker. They make really good stuff. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but they do make good stuff. We have their slicer and their grinder and some of their other products. But this one has features that can help you with your skipjack that this one does not have, but there is a way to manually do that feature. And here's the deal. If you just hit on a vacuum sealer like this, if you just hit vacuum seal, it's going to start the vacuum process. You'll hear the RPM change in the motor. You'll hear it really like bogging down as it gets a really strong vacuum on the package. And if you wait until this thing cuts off automatically, you've waited too long. There is such a thing as too much vacuum on a package when it comes to the skipjack. What you don't want is you don't want enough vacuum to pull the blood out of the skipjack. If you see blood like coming out of their gills and working its way through the package, you've pulled it down way too far. So I'm going to show you how to avoid that. You need to listen to the RPM and you manually stop the vacuum process and then hit seal, and then I'll show you how to do it over here. Starting to pull down now. Listen to the motor. Hear that change? You probably heard that change. As soon as the RPMs change, that's enough. This is pulled down tight enough. Is there maybe some small pockets of air in there? Absolutely. But I would much rather have tiny pockets of air than to pull this blood out of this skipjack. It'd be different if they were pre-frozen. You wouldn't have to worry about the blood coming out, but they're not pre-frozen. So as soon as the RPM changes, you cut it off and hit the seal button. On this one, you have options. You can choose very tight, standard, or loose. You can choose moist or dry food. That's how you control the amount of vacuum on this one. If you have it in the dry food setting, it's going to pull down much, much tighter than in the moist food setting. So that's what I use. It's in moist, hit vacuum seal, and then this one, I can let it cut off automatically and it'll seal automatically, and I can be putting skipjack in the next bag because I've learned that I can trust this one. You might have noticed it cut off really quickly. As soon as the RPM changed, it cut itself off. If I had it in the dry food setting, it would have went much, much tighter, much farther than I like. So these are done, they're ready to go in the freezer, and that's it. This video is over. I appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. See you in the next one.